Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become the confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am very pleased to have with me Shannon Houchin, and let me tell you about Shannon. She is the Roadside Republic face, if you will. She turned her life around by simple roadside peach stands and now teaches people how to do the same. She says, imagine seeing your own money, feeling proud, and helping the community, all with fresh local stuff. She works with students and families so they can pay for college by selling peaches. So let us learn more about Shannon. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Shannon Houchin.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is my pleasure. And peaches, as a Georgia girl, are one of my favorite things. I also anticipate with great pleasure the peach shake that Chick-fil-A has in the summer. But I
it's a big draw.
do love peaches. The interesting thing is, even though Georgia is the peach state, South Carolina probably makes just as many or more.
That is absolutely correct. They harvest more peaches than Georgia.
Yeah. And they're all great. But whenever I go home to Pittsburgh, I usually stop at the South Carolina stands because there's more of them.
Yes.
All righty. So I always start with a very easy question. Just tell everybody, where do you call home?
I am in Fort Worth, Texas. We call it Cowtown, where the West begins. And if you're familiar with the whole series Yellowstone by Taylor Sheridan actually went to high school here in Fort Worth. And he is present here a lot, films a lot down in the stockyards. So we have a real friendly, family-friendly cowboy culture here in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I've been there twice and loved it. Been down to the stockyards and the stores and everything. The food is awesome. I love visiting. Fort Worth was a wonderful time. So if you haven't been, audience, you need to go to Fort Worth.
Yes, absolutely.
So how did you get started selling peaches?
I was going through a very traumatic life transition back in 2013. The family business that my entire family participated in, which was a software development business, was coming to an end, and my father got brain cancer and then passed away. He was the founder of the business, and he sadly passed away 2 years later. And also I went through a divorce. So there was all of these traumatic life changes happening all at once. And I decided I needed to do something different. Like I needed to get back in touch with like working outside, working face to face with people, using my hands to do something. And I had this friend who grew up on a peach orchard in South Carolina. And he'd told me for probably 5 years that I needed to come out and experience the peach business, because what he did was run a series of peach stands in South Carolina, and he wanted to introduce me to the business. And so I thought, I need a big distraction. I need a life change. And so that summer I went to South Carolina and I became an intern, if you will, an apprentice, learning the peach business from the ground up. So spending time at the orchards themselves with the orchard growers learning how peach trees are grown, learning all the different varietals of peaches, because peaches are actually created now in universities. All of these different varieties of peaches are Clemson, I bet has a huge
Yeah.
department there where they create peach hybrids, and the orchards are populated with these. So I learned everything from the ground up, and then that summer started selling peaches from roadside stands. And I decided, with my background in logistics and operations, that I wasn't going to just do small stands. I was going to go big. And so that summer, I opened 100 roadside peach stands in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. And I fell in love with the business and quickly realized it is akin to an ATM machine. When you sell peaches, it prints money. And I've never looked back, just move forward. And it's been a blast.
So we know that peaches are not available in the stands all year long. So how do you discipline yourself? And this is, I guess, for any business that's kind of seasonal. How do you discipline yourself to make sure that you make the money you need to make to last you till the next season?
Exactly. When I first got started, I was exclusively focused on peaches, and peach season, typically all around the US, begins right around Memorial Day, and it typically ends around Labor Day. Now, with the varietals and the hybrids that we have in different states like California, Idaho, Colorado, they'll have a later peach season. So we can actually get into October with the seasons as we go west of the Mississippi, all the way towards California. So you do have to plan accordingly. When your season is 3 to 4 months, you make all of your money during that season, and then you're done for the rest of the year. And so I like to call the rest of the time, focusing on passions or other interests, other kind of old school businesses maybe, and CEO time. And that's where you're really working on the business rather than in the business. Now,
Mm-hmm.
over the years, I've extended the season, not necessarily for peaches, of course, but
Right.
for produce in general. So now what we do is, when peach season ends, roughly September, October, we roll into pumpkins. And pumpkins will go all the way till
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Right.
And then after pumpkin season, we'll roll into gift market or Christmas, right? Where we're selling greenery, wreaths, Christmas trees, things of that nature. Now, the only 2 months of the year which I don't really work, and most of the people in this business don't work, is January, February. So that's truly the CEO time. You can take off, work on your business, plan for the rest of the 10 months. And then once March rolls around, March, April, we're getting into berry season, like strawberries,
Yeah.
then the season can fire up. So it's really up to the individual how much time they want to spend working in the business. But you truly can, especially for the students, make enough money in 3 months to support you all year long. So the students who work with us, they will run their peach stands, make their tuition money and their living expenses in 3 to 4 months. And then they'll be able to just focus on studies, during the academic year. So
Yeah.
it's a real blessing to them.
And it just works perfectly with their time off,
Exactly.
the fact that they're home. And, granted, the peach stand's probably not going to be all day long. So you can definitely, and if you're the owner of it, you can hire people too, but maybe not a lot, since you would have some profit, but they still can have a life, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome. So do you also, I know we have a great farmers market, really. It's not really a peach stand. They made it probably from their first days from a small stand to this business where they have peach preserves and peach cider and baked goods and breads and beyond. As you said, they went beyond just that fruit. And people come from all over to there. So I imagine with your peach stand, as I said before we got started, I visited probably several of your peach stands in my life, going from Atlanta back home to Pittsburgh. So do you, in your various stands also have other things like candies, breads, jams, whatever.
Yes, we do. We have extended our offerings. And the reason we did this is not to necessarily extend our season, but yes, we did it to increase the average cart value for every
Yes.
transaction. So what we found in the peach stands is that we were leaving money on the table. So when
Yeah.
people come and buy peaches, it's not just, they don't just spend $3. Typically they're going to spend $20, $25. Well, what we also discovered is there's so much opportunity to upsell them at the time they're there. So from a business perspective, this changed the course of our business entirely, and quickly and dramatically increased our revenues. So we started offering, say, watermelons in the state of Texas, where I am now. People love watermelons and cantaloupe. And so it's like, okay, we have an opportunity to create a lot of value and upsell. So then we started pairing, well, if you're going to get a basket of peaches, you definitely want a watermelon to go with it. And you need a cantaloupe in the refrigerator. And then we started pairing things like local honey.
Mm-hmm.
And you're exactly right. Peach preserves, anything that's canned or canned or preserved, is really easy to sell at a roadside stand because the shelf life is so much longer.
Yeah.
But the reason we did that is to increase our cart value. So our average transaction easily went from $15, say in the very beginning of time back in 2013. Our average cart values now can, sometimes are hitting $55, $75, $85, because people are, combining so many things at once. And it's the value we create around all of the products, and teaching the people, particularly the students in the stand, to create that value. So they're telling stories about
Mm-hmm.
what they're selling, and they're engaging the customer at that very human level to tell a story about the peach, about the orchard, about the family who owns it, about how to care for it, the peach itself, how to extend its shelf life. So we create so much value that it's very easy for us to have really high transactions.
Yeah.
And that's why we started extending the season in the products that we sold, because we could go from, March all the way to Christmas.
And in your bio, I talked about community, and I think one of the other things that I love about peach stands is they often bring local buy or sellers, of their wares, their crafts, their preserves. And then you, as you said, that adds to the story. So now I'm not just buying a jar of Smuckers. No offense, Smuckers, I love you. But I'm buying Mary Smith's apricot preserves or peach preserves, and how she made them, and how, what's her story. And as you were saying, in the Christmas season, you have crafts and bringing all of those stories about this wreath, and it makes more value as I give that a gift to someone than just saying I bought you a jar from a food store.
Yes, yes. There is what I found more today than 10 years ago when I started, there's such a hunger, there's such a craving for, I'll call it the cottage industry, right? Homemade goods and crafts and art, and locally sourced products and foods, that consumers are almost desperate for this experience. And so we have all of these pop-up shopping experiences that are occurring all over the US. I've even seen some experiments coming out of San Diego where a lot of storefronts have closed, and there are these movements to put pop-up businesses in closed storefronts, because consumers associate a pop-up with a mom and pop, essentially. And they know, oh, I want to sample that. I want to see, because there are all these trades, there are all these crafts that are quickly disappearing. How to make preserves, how to pickle pickles, how to make pickles. These are trades and skills that are disappearing, and millennials and Gen Z people desperately want that. They're just not sure how to do it. And so they're attracted. There's a huge draw to these experiences, to these farmers markets, pop-up shopping events. any kind of local artisan market is a huge
Yeah.
draw. And so there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for folks like me, students and families who want to showcase their particular talents and skills and make some money, over the weekend.
So our theme really today is talking about businesses that are traditional, old school, and now the 21st century with all these different things have to make a change, have to pivot. And so it made me think of whenever I visited, I often for work had to go to California for weeks at a time. And I would go on Saturdays in Los Angeles in a farmer's market that overtook this huge parking lot. And you could see fruit stands, everything. But a lot of times businesses would take their shirts, their clothes, even designers, to
Mhm.
try to test the market, as you were saying. So to me, it was like the first pop-up I ever saw. And so you would be able to have, excuse me, be able to buy something that wasn't really on the market yet at a really good price. And it gave the vendor the idea, oh, wow, this sold out in, this weekend. So I definitely can put this in my other stores. So talk to me a little bit about how else businesses, even, brick and mortar as well as online, can change and pivot to be able to be more attractive in this new 21st century.
Yes, I've had several students, professional business people who have brick and mortar businesses want to understand the pop-up environment as a way to grow awareness and showcase different product lines. So for example, people who have like small grocery store concepts may try to do a pop-up in order to expand into greenery. So another product offering that you can do in conjunction with your produce to upsell and create more value per transaction is potted plants, for example. People will start right in the early part of the year, Easter, you're doing um, daffodil bulbs, you're going to start to do petunias, anything that is easily transportable, but it naturally complements your current product offerings, allow you to have a great, dollar transaction with the customer. And at that level, you're getting the human connection, the communication you need in order to get immediate feedback about what you're offering. And I have found at a pop-up or a roadside stand, consumers feel inherently, they're happy and everybody wants to tell a story. So this environment of coming to a mom and pop-up creates conversation, and
Mm.
consumers want to tell their story and they want to engage with the people at the pop-up. So it's a win-win, because we at the pop-up can then talk about the products that we have and get immediate feedback. So if you're ever considering surveying your customers, a pop-up is a great way to do it, because you're face to face and you will have a lot of engagement and a lot of feedback immediately on the products that you're offering. And you will know things, pricing strategy, what complementary products go with it, how are you creating value? Is there a customer base? Is that customer base suitable for the products that you're offering? So you can almost get all of your questions answered at a pop-up when you're offering products, and everything from handmade goods, to food trucks. I see authors even, at pop-up shopping events who've set up a tent. They're selling their books. They're doing autographed copies. I mean, it's people who sell windows, homeowners insurance. It's a great way just to get that face-to-face communication and feedback, and almost like a one-on-one call, but you're doing it, in real time. So it's a fabulous way to engage the community.
And in terms of sales too, the good thing is that the people are coming to you, especially if you're in like the flea market that I talked about, or the swap meet. The the pop-ups, the intrigue, I would assume we could probably talk a little bit about marketing and pre pop-up date, how that's done, and maybe also about the cost factor of doing a pop-up if it's a storefront opposed to a tent, if you will. So why don't we delve into those subjects a little bit?
Yes. Another bonus to having a roadside stand or a pop-up is that you can, of course, do it on your own. You can be a standalone, tent, which I do a lot. We will do semi-permanent tents where we set them up in May and we don't take them down till the end of the season. And that could be at the end of peach season, it might be at the end of pumpkin season, or it might be at the end of Christmas season. So those tents, once we put them up, they stay. And those are our standalone locations. We also simultaneously do pop-up shopping events or farmers markets on the weekends. And those are great because you have the opportunity to ride the coattails of the organizers because they are in charge of the marketing.
Yes.
So they are spending their own dollars, right, on advertising, on promoting foot traffic to the market, for the benefit of everyone, including the community at whole. So you get that free benefit of they're already doing the marketing. They have booked the great traffic location, so you don't have to worry about finding, will this location work? Will it not work? Will I get good traffic? You're going to get good traffic. And you get the benefit of co-locating with so many other businesses because what happens is the businesses feed the consumer gets the experience of a varied shopping environment. So people are primed, they're in the mood to spend money. And so co-locating with that many other businesses just increases the odds that you're going to make money too. So you're already at a win-win, and the cost to, secure a tent or a booth may be as low as $25. It could be as high as $600, depending on the location of the market. But so you've already got that advertising. And then if you have a large following, you help promote to your followers, where you will be at any given time. And in our business, we still do this, the roadside stand, people will follow us all over DFW. And we're almost 9 million strong in the DFW area. Every time we do a pop-up, people will follow us, whether it's 20 miles, 30 miles, they will track us down and say, I saw that you were going to be here on Facebook. And so I came to see you. So marketing, online marketing, hyper-local marketing, which is what I call it, is key to getting more people to come visit your pop-up shop or your roadside stand.
Awesome. So whenever you talk about the stands, and again, you are not alone. If it's someone that's a family or a student, how many people would you recommend they have to get things at least started?
So doing like pop-up shops where you're setting up, for example, a 10 by 10 tent, and you're bringing, everything, I call it a pop-up kit. And we do this for the students, all the kids who work for us during the summer. So each student will take their own kit, which is the tent, tables, chairs, baskets, produce, money bag, everything they need to set up for, say, a 4-hour market. Typically, it's usually 2 students who are running it because those types of dedicated markets are high traffic. Thanks to the organizers, if they've done their job properly, it's going to be high foot traffic. So it's usually 2 students, and students can be anywhere from 15 years old, up to college students, 22 years or so. And so I will pair them, one really knowledgeable student with a younger student, and they will go and essentially run their own business. They will set everything up, execute the market, close down, and bring back a tent or the kit. And so they can handle all of the foot traffic. If it's a little bit slower market, maybe 1 person can do it, but 2 is really good for one of these pop-up shopping events.
So as you were saying that, it came to mind, do you ever work with like church groups. You talked about family and students, but like church groups are always looking for ways to make money. Is that something that's viable for them?
Yes. So I have done one really popular church groups and nonprofits like the VFW,
Mhm.
fraternals, veterans groups, civic groups, like um, boys and girls clubs or things like
Mhm.
that. They are always looking for big community fundraisers. And I've done this with a couple folks. A good example is a pumpkin patch. So you'll see this a lot with churches. They will host a pumpkin
Yeah.
patch and they will contract with a broker like me to actually bring the pumpkins in, set up, right, all of the tents and the pumpkin displays, have the people train the church volunteer staff or the nonprofit staff,
Yeah.
depending on the requirements, in that state, who's actually handling the money and running the business. We'll train them, and then we take stuff away at the end of the event. So we've done that with nonprofits. We've helped cities set up their own fall festivals. And
Hmm.
once they get good at executing, then they can take it over, or
Right.
they can do long-term contracts with us. But yes, that it's absolutely a great way for a nonprofit to do fundraising.
Yeah, for sure. I know my church does pecans all the time, and we did pumpkins, I think, one year. But yeah, I thought right away as you were talking about that, you talk about the money bag, and so I know it used to be you could only go to a fruit stand with cash, but
Yes.
now I know some of my local ones here do have squares and things for credit cards. So, what would your recommendation be for these students that may not have a lot of cash to start with you?
Yes. And it's actually, so we teach this too. It's really the wonderful thing about running Peaches, and the reason it's so well suited for students or families who don't have a lot of capital, is that you can honestly start with $200. So you need $200, a table, and some cash. And if you have a Venmo account, that's how you can get started. You don't have to have Square in order to conduct transactions, because so many people now have Venmo or Cash App or some cashless,
Yeah.
right, payment system where they can send you money. So it's so low overhead, low
Mhm.
capital, and high reward that students can go buy $200 worth of peaches, set up on a table, maybe at a high traffic convenience store, sell through the $200 worth of peaches, and take that, now what they've earned, and just roll it back into the next day. So the next day they could take their profit. So maybe they're $500, $600 now off that $200 investment. They just roll that right back into the business, go buy, $400 worth of peaches the
Yeah.
next, set up again. Now they're quickly in profit, right? Because they're just rolling it back in. By the end of the week, you have enough capital to buy a tent, to buy signs, to buy baskets, to buy whatever equipment supplies you might need, and you're still in profit, and you have your overhead for your inventory. So that's how I teach students to quickly get started. You just need a table, maybe $200, and by the end of the week, you'll have everything you need.
Awesome. Well, time has flown by, and so definitely would love to have you back to talk more about this. But I'm going to share my slide now that has your contact information. So all those that are listening, go grab that pen and paper so you can write down the website information. If you're watching, you can get a screenshot. So for those of you that are listening, the website is simply roadsiderepublic.com. Again, that's roadsiderepublic.com. On Facebook, it's Roadside Republic with 2 capital R's, R for Roadside, R for Republic capitalized. LinkedIn is her name, Shannon Houchin, and it's Houchin. So search by Shannon's name. And Instagram is Roadside Republic, all small letters. Roadside Republic, all small letters for Instagram. I'll let Shannon tell you a little bit, if you go to the website or LinkedIn, what you might find.
Yes. So my business partner is actually my son, Finn, and Finn is 21, but he has been selling peaches with me since he was 11. So he actually went with me that summer in 2013 when we did our internship together. And so that kid has been selling peaches with me now for a decade, and he runs most of our logistics and our business and our training. So you will get to experience our story when you go visit roadsiderepublic.com. And then we have a ton of information on courses that we offer. So we actually teach families and we teach students how to do this so that they can earn income over the summer months when there's a break for big ticket items like college tuition, or maybe a Disney family vacation, or a car, or a house down payment. So whatever big ticket items that you need to earn relatively quick cash for, they can all be done through a summer peach stand. And we teach families and students how to do that. And there'll be more information there at roadsiderepublic.com.
Awesome. Shannon, it was so great talking to you. You know, I love all things peach, and I love pop-up businesses. I think that's a great way to introduce products, but also to fill a need that people have. And you shared wonderful tips and insights that I think will help entice the audience to go ahead and try to do it. You know, all you young entrepreneurs out there, this is a great, as you said, low cost, low risk. And it's, you know, it's not one of those things you have to think about. Do they want peaches?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody wants peaches.
That's right. All right. So thank you so much for being a wonderful guest. And as always, I remind everyone that life is a journey and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.